settled in and we'll get going here with tonight's program. So grab some coffee, grab some cookies. I think in the interest of time, we'll probably get started, and people might still trickle in, but that's okay. But I want to say hello and good evening, and I want to welcome you to the Champaign Public Library. We are so happy to have you here this evening for this special small business panel event, So You Want to Start a Business, in honor of National Women's Small Business Month. My name is Lauren Gramley, and I am the business specialist here at the library. For those of you who aren't aware, here at the library we have a lot of great resources for small businesses and for nonprofits alike, including one-on-one consultations with me on anything business related. We also have some amazing databases to help with doing market research, to help with writing a business plan, to help with looking for grants. And of course, we have these amazing informative workshops led by local business and nonprofit experts like this evening's event. Because in my mind, who better to speak to people about starting a business than those who have done it? They understand firsthand the challenges involved with both starting and running a business. They know firsthand how wonderful it can be to see a dream become a reality. They understand the long hours, the unexpected and unwelcome problems that come up.
Like staff calling in sick at the last moment, or dealing with the sewer water flooding situation. I have been there, it is not pleasant. They deal with all these things with grace, perseverance, and courage because they know how important small businesses are to their community. Our small businesses are what make our community unique. They make it vital.
And they make it wonderful. And I encourage everyone to support our small businesses in any way you can, especially now as we all face uncertain economic times. But enough for me. We are here tonight to hear from our wonderful presenters. So one little bit of housekeeping. If you do have any questions tonight for our panelists, I do ask that you hold them till the end. We are going to leave, 15, 20 minutes at least for some questions, okay? But I'm going to start things off by introducing our panelists by reading their bios, okay? So I'm going to get going with that. So Dr. Monica Beasley is the president and owner of Monica's Accounting and Tax Services, or M.A.T.S, LLC, a growing firm specializing in tax preparation, business consulting, payroll, bookkeeping, and financial management solutions for individuals, small businesses, and nonprofits. With over 20 years of professional experience and 5 college degrees, Dr. Beasley is passionate about empowering others through financial literacy, business development, and entrepreneurship training. In addition to leading M.A.T.S LLC, she is the founder and executive director of Open Arms Graces, a nonprofit organization dedicated to serving and uplifting the community through outreach, education, and support services. Her work through Open Arms Graces reflects her heart for ministry, advocacy, and helping disadvantaged populations thrive. As an author, educator, singer-songwriter, and community leader, Dr. Beasley has touched countless lives by helping individuals and organizations achieve their financial goals while fostering personal and professional growth. She brings her unique blend of technical expertise, spiritual insight, and compassion to every engagement, inspiring audiences to take bold steps towards success. Jenny Kim is the visionary owner of Hopscotch Bakery and Market and a dedicated entrepreneur in the Champaign-Urbana community. A University of Illinois alumna and decade-long president, Jenny has extensive experience in the local restaurant scene, including roles at Seven Saints and as general manager at the Literary. A longtime admirer of the beloved John Street spot, Jenny took the reins of Hopscotch Bakery and Market in spring 2024 to fulfill her dream of business ownership. She is committed to preserving its charm as a destination for beautiful baked goods, from croissants and quiche to coffee and custom cakes. Jenny and her husband are actively developing Hey Penny Market, or the Market on Market, at 115 North Market Street. This new business will fill a downtown gap, functioning as a corner store for daily necessities, beer and wine, and as a quick service lunch counter with a nostalgic 5 and dime feel. Irene Macedo Hernández is the passionate owner and visionary behind the successful food truck business La Paloma. Irene's journey is one of independence and dedication, beginning with the launch of her first truck 7 years ago. The name, which means the dove, is a heartfelt tribute to her late grandmother, and the business remains a family affair. Her brother helped build the first truck, and she channels her husband and co-owner Gerardo Serrano's executive chef skills into their food. Since opening in October 2018, La Paloma has achieved remarkable growth, operating on three food trucks today. La Paloma's popularity has allowed them to expand their reach across Champaign and surrounding counties, and they now proudly employ 6 team members. They remain committed to quality with meats, salsas, and special marinades like the one from their pastor, made fresh from scratch daily by Chef Gerardo. La Paloma's impressive trajectory and dedication to the community were recently recognized when Irene was honored with the Brilliant Spirit Award at Experience Champaign-Urbana's annual Toast to Tourism celebration. Irene is a true visionary, proving that hard work and commitment to fresh, homemade food can turn a dream of ownership into a thriving multi-truck business. Melinda Miller is the CEO and co-owner of Pixo, a software consultancy in Champaign, Illinois, that specializes in designing and developing custom websites and applications for the higher education and agriculture industries. At Pixo, Melinda directs the vision and strategy for the company and fosters a healthy, human-centered work environment that helps Pixo provide excellent service to its clients. Melinda's career at Pixo began in 2012 as the company's first user experience designer, following her completion of a master's degree in library and information science at the University of Illinois High School, a path that led to her roles as the director of user experience and research and the general manager. Prior to Pixo, Melinda worked in the newspaper industry in upstate New York as a designer, editor, and newsroom leader. She received her bachelor's degree in journalism from the University of Illinois and was the editor-in-chief of the Daily Illini. She is a native of Macomb, Illinois. Despite focusing primarily on leadership and management, Melinda still finds energy in tackling the messy problems at the intersection of people and technology. She sees her role as an opportunity to inspire others, not only as a woman who leads and empowers in the software business, but also as a successful out lesbian business owner, offering proof that it's always worth the risk to take that leap in your career and in your life. Melixa Rivera-Sustache is a visionary entrepreneur, executive leader, and business strategist who has built her career at the intersection of innovation, discipline, and impact. With a background in chemical engineering and extensive leadership experience as an executive officer for the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, Melixa brings a unique blend of technical expertise and strategic clarity to every endeavor. She is the founder of The Real Melixa, a bilingual business strategy and brand dedicated to helping entrepreneurs launch smart, scale bold, and lead real. By combining practical business frameworks with real-world experience, she guides leaders and entrepreneurs to align their vision with execution so they can create sustainable, profitable growth. As the driving force behind V.I.D.A. Bottega, a veteran and Latino-owned automotive customization company, she has expanded operations across Illinois while mentoring small business owners in how to structure, scale, and succeed with order and strategy at the core. Beyond her businesses, Melixa is a real estate investor and community builder, balancing her multiple ventures with a passion for empowering others to embrace structure as freedom. Her story exemplifies resilience, strategy, and a relentless commitment to building success with intention. And last but not least, Jennifer Shelby's business career spans 3 decades in the automotive industry, where she moved from sales to finance manager and ultimately became a dealer principal, owning and operating dealerships. Today, Jennifer is the co-owner of Shatterglass Films, a production company, and the president of Flyover Film Studios. Flyover Film Studios provides filmmakers with studio space, existing standing sets, and all necessary peripherals, including wardrobe, props, and set decoration. Beyond her businesses, Jennifer serves as a trustee at Blackburn College and is the treasurer for Courtsiders, the booster group supporting women's basketball at the University of Illinois. She is also a member of the CU Sunrise Rotary Club. Her past community service includes board positions with the CU Schools Foundation, Crisis Nursery, and she has chaired the Fur Ball for the Champaign County Humane Society. Let's give a hand for all of these amazing panelists. Okay, for this evening's format, I will be asking our panelists a series of questions, and they will then answer those questions, and then after that, you guys will have an opportunity to ask your own questions, okay? So the first question is going to be for everybody on the panel to answer, so we will, I'll ask the question, then Dr. Beasley will start, and then we'll work down the line. But the first question is, tell us your story. What inspired you to start your small business, and what did your startup journey look like? All right, Dr. Beasley.
Okay. I wrote my words down, so. My journey as a business owner began with both faith and purpose. I've always believed that my gifts in accounting and business were given to me not just for personal success, but to serve others and create opportunities for financial stability and education in my community. Before launching Monica's Accounting and Tax Services in 2019, I worked in the accounting field for many years, managing finances, preparing tax returns, and helping others understand complex business processes. But I realized there was a gap. Many individuals, small businesses, and not-for-profits lacked access to reliable, affordable, and trustworthy financial services. That realization became my motivation to step out in faith and start something of my own. When I first started M.A.T.S, I worked alone from my home office with a laptop, printer, and a strong belief that if I served people with excellence and integrity, the business would grow, and it did. What started with just over 100 clients in 2019 has grown to serve nearly 500 clients by 2024, including individuals, entrepreneurs, and non-for-profit organizations across multiple states. The startup journey wasn't easy. There were seasons of sacrifice, long hours, and moments of uncertainty, but my faith grounded me. Every challenge strengthened my commitment to the mission to empower others through financial literacy, ethical accounting, and professional guidance. Today, M.A.T.S LLC has a group that includes a payroll manager, a bookkeeping manager that oversees 2 accounting clerks, and office personnel, each playing an important role in serving our clients with excellence. Looking back, I see how every obstacle prepared me to lead with compassion, wisdom, and perseverance. My story is one of grace, grit, and growth, a testimony that when you walk in purpose and remain faithful, what starts small can grow beyond what you ever imagined.
Thank you, Dr. Beasley. Amazing words. All right, Jenny.
Yes, so I'm Jenny Kim. As you touched on, Lauren, in our bios, I have lived and worked in Champaign for about 11 years now, and spent a lot of that time in, I started out working in restaurants and bars in downtown Champaign. The most, recognized, some of the more recognizable ones might be Seven Saints and the Literary in downtown. And so it was, over the course of my work in hospitality in restaurants, that I came to, just love kind of that experience of curating experience for the community, of taking care of other people, of being able to provide, a certain experience and welcoming feel. So that, working in restaurants is how I started, where I developed the skills, just grew a lot as a person, and kind of developed that desire to, be a bigger part of that, to be able to contribute to the community in that particular way. And so as the opening general manager of the Literary, I gained a lot of experience on the kind of more on the ownership side. I wasn't the owner, but I got kind of a first look at all the logistics of opening a new business in addition to managing a team. And kind of, it was a very cool project to be able to kind of, see all the different moving parts of a business that had both, retail, food service, beverage, and just this overall hospitality and kind of this greater purpose of providing like a third space to the Champaign-Urbana community. So from there, that was kind of the first time that I thought that that was something that I might want to do, on my own as well, and kind of carve out my own space. In the community. And so it was through that experience at the Literary that I met the original owner of Hopscotch. So again, as Lauren mentioned, Hopscotch Bakery has been open on John Street as a brick and mortar location since July of 2017. And so in the process of working at the Literary, I was able to get to know the original owner of the bakery. We had a lot in common, shared similar values of the kind of team and space we wanted to curate. And so when it was announced that, and so there was a brief period when I went and worked, in the corporate world, kind of got this whole other experience in, in the tech industry, working remotely. That was very different from what I'd done previously. But when the owner of Hopscotch, announced that she and her family were moving across the country to be closer to, her home, her parents and such, and that Hopscotch was going up for sale, the opportunity just kind of presented itself, where we were able to work together to kind of continue continue what she had started at Hopscotch as this kind of lovely residential neighborhood bakery. And I had been a fan of the business for many years before I ever, knew anything about business ownership. So we had worked together, when I was at the Literary, and after I had expressed interest, was able to work with her to transition in ownership. I got to work with her firsthand. She was gracious enough to provide me with a lot of the training and guidance for all that it would entail to take over the bakery. And since then, that was about a year and a half ago, in the spring of 2024. And so since then, it's been a big learning and growing process. But we have been able to continue, curating this lovely community space, and continue serving our neighbors, and foster a wonderful, welcoming space for both our staff and the community, and hope to grow from there.
All right, thank you, Jenny. All right, Irene.
Hi, thank you. My name is Irene Macedo Hernández. I've been here in Champaign-Urbana for 25 years now. Since I came, my dream was have a restaurant. I always try to encourage my brothers and sisters. We should get together and start the project, but I guess everyone has their own way to go, and so that's what probably they did not share my dream. So I said I'll have to work my way, and I guess myself. I was at a store one time, and I said, I look at this steam table, and I said, I don't know, but I feel like I should start with something. Like, it was like a signal, like it's something to start with. So I bought the steam table, and then I find the truck on the market, and then I told my brother, you know what, now I know what I'm going to do. So we went to get the truck. We start painting, start the remodeling inside. We start looking for more equipment, got the design, start looking for help, where to get the permits, register the name and all that. So that's how I started it. I worked at a fast food restaurant for, I don't know, maybe 8 years. So I got the experience as a GM. I knew how to do scheduling, how to do, I guess, everything about running a business. So I said, I think I'm in the right position where I have a knowledge, everything that I should use for my own business. So I think when I opened it, I wasn't sure if I should leave the fast food restaurant to start running the food truck, but the food truck was already running for 3 months, I think, by somebody else. I said, I don't know what I keep doing here in the restaurant. I should be running my business. So yeah, that's how I left. I decided and I took the decision. So and since then, my husband was at California at the culinary school. He graduated from executive chef. So I think we made a great pair. He was studying for culinary. I had most of the administration part, so I think we have been doing a great team because we are now have 3 food trucks.
Nice.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Irene.
Thank you.
Melinda?
Sure. Hi. I didn't start my business. I bought it, so a little bit more like Jenny's story. My business was founded in 1998 by Lori Gold Patterson. She's pretty well known in this community, and she ran it for many years. And when I started working there in 2011, I was, I'd gotten out of another career. I was really committed to kind of being a worker in the business, and I wasn't going to get talked into managing anything, and I was just going to I wanted to do my craft, and it never works out that way. I'd always been kind of a change maker and had management jobs, and of course that's what happened at Pixo. So I kind of worked my way up a little bit, and Lori decided around 2016, 2017 that she really wanted to have another chapter in her life and not keep running a business, which is really hard work. I'm sure we'll get to that. So she approached some of us, a few of the employees, and so 2 of us stepped up and decided we wanted to keep the business going and we would try to buy it from her. And so it took a long time to figure out how to do that. And unfortunately, we didn't get it all wrapped up until July 2020, just after the pandemic started, which was, I'm sure that'll come up later. But we were so far into the process and so convinced that was what we wanted to do, we kept going. So what motivated me was I loved where I worked, and I loved the people I worked with, and I loved what we did, and the clients we help. And I really thought it was a special place, and I wanted to keep it going, and so did my colleague Jason, who bought the business with me. We both are tied to this community and believe in local small businesses, wanted to keep jobs here and employ people. And also I'd worked for a large corporate newspaper organization, and corporate work is a lot different, and you don't get to make very many decisions, and things are handed down from above, and so the chance to really have a vision and get to call the shots was very appealing. Did I know what I was getting into? Absolutely not. I'm sure a lot of folks will resonate with that. We're probably all going to say that. But that's what motivated me, and it was a big leap. So I'll let the rest come later.
Thank you, Melinda. All right, Melixa?
So I think I've been everywhere. So I am a chemical engineer by training. I am originally from Puerto Rico. So before I graduated, I got a job offer with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, which I was very excited about because not everyone gets that opportunity, right? So undergrad, you just finish, now you have a full-time job with benefits. That's all that you strive for when you're studying, being able to start, producing and putting hands on what you studied. The research world grabbed my attention because I didn't like the cookie-cutting chemical engineering processes that you will get in manufacturing. Research tends to have a broader aspect, and you pick and choose what you want to do, But at the same time, within the years, I learned that I need quick return of investment. And research may take a little longer for me to fulfill my fire and keep me going and be inspired, right? But obviously through that career path, I learned that I was also sitting in tables that I was probably knowledgeable in different aspects that people were not considering me, right? So it's like they were, like for example, it was like, okay, let's just find an animal that is a cow and let's just milk it. And let's just get the milk and put it in a gallon and then sell it at a grocery store. And in my mind, I'm like, brothers and sisters, the milk already exists, And it's like, why can't I just help people do all these things when not everyone has the capability to understand and know about other different aspects of life outside your forte, right? So I'm dealing with engineers that normally don't know a lot about marketing or resources or systems. They just know to do what they're there to do. So I was doing my PhD at that time. And I did my master's here at U of I in environmental engineering. And I was doing a PhD because I wanted to be valued as a researcher in the world of research, right? Because if you don't have a PhD, who are you? Do you know how to read? Do you know how to write? Are you a good researcher? Right, so I'm like, okay, so I want those 3 letters because I want people to understand that I know what I'm talking about. But at the same time, I could not read and write to save my life. I was just like, this is so boring. Like, I can tell you all the chemistry about it, but what am I doing? So in high school, I had a list of 3 things that I wanted to do in my life. I wanted to be a bartender, I wanted to do grad school, and I wanted to do real estate. So grad school, checked already, I'm at PhD level. Bartending, I did through college. The only one left was real estate, right? But then having a 9-to-5 job, I'm just like, okay, so I will never going to be able to do a regular real estate transaction because I'm going to be attached to an office. But I do like quick return of investment, and I do like to go shopping, and I do like to spend money, and I do obviously love to spend the money that is not mine. So I was like, I'm just going to start flipping houses, and I'm just going to start buying and holding, and I'm just going to start making money and finding the value of who I was outside where I was actually valued for who I was. And that kind of took me to places. So at that time, my husband, he's a Navy veteran. He was here in town getting his degree at Parkland College, automotive technician. And he started a business partnership with a business locally owned. And I was just like helping them build it. And luckily enough, he just walked in as I'm talking about him. What is that? So it was my fire to be like, let's do this, and let's just start the marketing aspect, and then looking and learning and searching, and it was my passion. And I was like, oh, find your customer, find your forte, and do all this. So I did that. That partnership broke in 2020 because we, as business owners, have our own values, and we stick to what we believe. So that also took us to find a different supplier and provide the same businesses, but with what we thought it was more suitable for what we wear, instead of having that partnership. So then we go and do it again. He was 3 years into it, and we go and do it again. And when we do it again, the more I learn. It was like, oh my God, this is getting better. So with that, I learned, if I can do it for myself, I can do it for you twice, I can do it for others. And that's kind of like the real Melixa came from being real estate only to being, I can help you with whatever is it that you're needing. Do you need guidance knowing what is it that you want? Do you need a person outside the box who told you are good at this because that's what you're telling me you are? You need, help strategizing how the future looks like for you and how to get there? And that's kind of like how all of it started. So that's why I'm here. That's me. That's me in a nutshell.
Thank you, Melissa. All right, and Jennifer.
last but not least. So I approached the two guys that would become my partners in Shatterglass Films in 2014. I was in the process of selling my dealership here in town, Shelby, Dodge, Jeep, Ram. I sold that, I think, the end of 2013. I honestly just had to look it up. So if you saw me on my phone, I was listening, but I was looking up that date because I couldn't remember. So anyway, I sold my dealership. I was at a Rotary meeting. We had a speaker come in and talk about independent film production. And I thought, okay, I'd never, ever thought about film. I have a degree in psychology. I worked in a car dealership. I've done retail. I owned car dealerships. So I'm listening and I'm listening. I'm saying, why isn't this person applying a business model to making this movie? Who's the audience? How are they going to sell it? What's the market? You know, I had a million questions on how was this working, because it was really interesting, but I couldn't figure out what the return on investment was. And a lot of times with independent film, you're asking people for money to make that. I know people that have mortgaged their home to make a movie. I don't recommend that. So I thought there's got to be a better way to do this. So I called a friend of mine. She was at the College of Media at the time. And she basically said, hey, dummy, I just took you to a party at Shatterglass Studios where Brett Hayes and Luke Boys were celebrating the fact that they had won a regional Emmy for a short documentary on the Ebert Film Fest. She said, call Brett and Luke and sit down and talk to them. I'm sure they can at least point you in the right direction. Well, their dream had always been, they had Shatterglass Studios, which was commercial production. They had always, their dream was to make independent film. But they didn't like talking to people about money. They didn't particularly love negotiating contracts. All that stuff I loved. I was perfectly at home with it. I had spent, at that point, 20 years in the car business. I simultaneously was also buying 2 other dealerships in 2015, so that's another story. So I sat with them and we decided to launch Shatterglass Films, which is a production company. So we get intellectual properties, we have the rights to, it could be a book, it could be a comic book, and we develop that and figure out how to make it into either a movie, a series. We've done both. We've done documentaries, we've done independent films, we've done short films. I don't know if anyone recently watched Revival on Sci-Fi, which is a comic book property. That was a project that we developed for a long time, and so that the first season's out. We're hoping it gets picked up for a second. In producing movies and working with some of our production partners, we were producing a movie here in 2022. It took place in a lot of abandoned buildings, homes, businesses. We found some great abandoned facilities up on what was the old Chanute Air Force Base in Rantoul. And so in poking around up there, we found all kinds of space that was not being utilized. And so we decided then in 2023, we launched Flyover Film Studios, which is a film studio made by filmmakers for filmmakers. So we are in one of the old hangars there, which is massive, and that comes with a whole huge amount of headaches because it's old and it's sat there unused and unloved for years. But we have standing sets, we have a sound stage, we're going to build soundproof walls, we have tons of props and wardrobe and all that. So now we're taking what we learned as film producers and applying it to what can we do to make it easier for a producer to make a film. Part of it's logistics and money. A lot of films have been made in Chicago. I can pay for a ton of bills down here for what they pay for parking up there. So it made sense. You can spend 2 hours driving across the city, or you can hop in your car and drive 2 hours and come here and park for free and shut streets down for $25 and do all that. So that's how we decided to start Flyover Film Studios. Wow.
stories. So now we're going to jump into some other questions. So I'm going to open these questions up to the panel. They don't have to answer, but if they want to, they're welcome to, of course. All right, so let's go into the first question. So actually, let's start with maybe the negative stuff. Let's get that out of the way. So as a small business owner, what are the biggest challenges you have faced or currently face right now? So I'm opening this question up. Everybody want to jump in? Monica, you want to go? Okay.
Okay. One of the biggest challenges I've faced as a small business owner has been managing growth while maintaining balance. When I first started M.A.T.S, which is the acronyms of Monica's Accounting and Tax Service, I handled everything myself, from client consultations, tax filings, to payroll, bookkeeping. And as the client base grew from just over 100 to nearly 500 clients, the demand became greater than one person could manage alone. So I learned how to delegate and trust others with responsibilities, and that was real huge for me because I'm dealing with Social Security numbers, birth certificates, and for a very long time, it was hard for me to come down for myself to trust somebody else with this information. Because even doing a background check on somebody can still be a little scary, because even if they don't have nothing there, it's always that risk. But another ongoing challenge is finding and retaining qualified staff who not only have the technical skills, but also share the company's work ethic and values. The accounting industry requires precision, reliability, and confidentiality, qualities that take time to develop and nurture. So I've had to invest in training and mentorship to build a dependable team that aligns with our standards of excellence. In addition, balancing cash flow and staffing needs has been an area of growth as the business expands, and ensuring that payroll, software subscriptions, marketing, and compliance costs are managed efficiently requires constant planning and financial discipline. So like many small business owners, I also face the challenge of wearing multiple hats. So not only am I the president, I am HR, and I'm having to manage oversee and manage the day-to-day operations. But I've learned how to lead with strategic growth, and all while keeping faith and focus intact. These challenges have made me a stronger leader. They've taught me to plan smarter, pray harder, and stay committed to the purpose God placed in my hands through this business.
Awesome. Anybody else want to chime in here? Linda.
I wanted to talk about one experience I had. I mean, there are a lot of them, but this was related to our status as a certified woman-owned company in Illinois, and we were that before we bought the business. So we had a one owner at that time, Lori, and so obviously could be a certified woman-owned business, but I bought the business with a male business partner. And we knew we wanted to continue with that status. We had contracts with the Illinois in particular that were based on that status. But it's also, my partner Jason and I just felt like that was important to be a woman-owned business, and we want to continue Pixo that way. But we set it up kind of a 51-49 split, and didn't really seek any advice on how we should do it, and if that was smart, and are there any pitfalls here. And I'm not saying 51-49 was particularly bad, although I think we probably could have changed that so I had a higher percentage. But we did get challenged by the state about a year and a half in. And basically they were like, well, prove that Melinda really runs the business. And, while you're at it, let's look at how you bought the business, and let's go through all of that stuff and all the bank stuff and all that. It opened up a giant can of worms. And it was a long process to sort that out. So it started in March when we were trying to get recertified, and didn't get straightened out until the following November. We had contracts put on hold. It was really, really tough. And of course, you're dealing with the bureaucracy, right? And I've since learned that there are a lot of many women-owned businesses go through this. And I can look at this both ways. So it's for a good reason, to make sure that there aren't men owning businesses that have a woman figurehead. Of course, that's not the intent, and you don't want that. But it's also, it can be detrimental and horrible to go through. So I would just say I wish we had investigated all that a little bit more, talked to people who kind of knew more about that status and what the pitfalls were, and that's the theme I'm going to revisit again and again when I talk tonight, is just the importance of just finding out more and talking to people, figuring out what you might be facing ahead. So we did survive that. We won an appeal. They acknowledged that I actually run the business and know what I'm talking about. So that was good. It's something I look back on now that I'm like, I survived that. But I wouldn't wish it on anybody, and I would absolutely, want people to just think about that a lot more and research it a lot more, because it's serious stuff.
Anybody else want to jump in?
It resonates a lot what Dr. Beasley was saying about delegating. It is incredibly hard to learn to delegate and to trust. You've got to do it. You've got to vet your people well, and then you've got to give them some trust and the ability to do the tasks. On the flip side of that, though, you're going to come across people that aren't the right fit. Some that will literally do things that you don't agree with morally, legally, whatever, but sometimes a person is not the right fit, and firing a person is one of the hardest things as a business owner I think you'll ever do. But it has to be done, and a lot of times it's in their best interest too. Sometimes it's just not the right fit. So don't delay on that. Don't let those kind of problems hang in there and you're stewing about it. Talk to somebody else. Fortify yourself. It's going to be a tough conversation. There could be tears and there could be yelling. I mean, you never know. I've fired a few people. Legitimately, there were one or two I looked forward to doing it. I am not the kind soul that some of these other women are. But most of the time it is incredibly hard, but it is a necessity, and you have got to find the strength to do it, and do it as gracefully as possible, but don't let it fester.
That's right. And I just want to piggyback on what she said, because I was in that situation where I went through some employees. I've always looked at the good in people. I don't ever look at the worst, and I'm open to training you. But however, your business comes first, and you have to make those decisions, and sometimes it could be painful.
Anybody else want to jump in on this question before we move to the next one? Irene.
Talking about the employees, because that's, I think, our most challengeable situation. Many of the employees that have come to La Paloma don't have any experience, or perhaps zero experience. And seeing our business without employees is just not a thing. We have to have employees. We have events that we have to cover, that we have to go, and without employees, we just don't run. So we had a few people that we said, we're just gonna give them the chance to come and learn, and give them the time to practice and get the a knowledge of what they doing. But sometimes it's just not like she said. We're delaying to fire them because we don't want to fire people. We just wanna give them enough time, but on the other end, we don't know how long is enough time for them to practice. So it's hard on us to fire people, but it has to be done. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, anybody else on this question before we move to the next one? Okay. So the next question I have for you guys, let's focus on the positive. So what are some of the biggest rewards you've experienced as a small business owner in this community? Anybody want to take this question?
I don't wrote something to ask a question, but I don't want to dive in if y'all want to go first. I don't want to seem like I'm always going first.
You can go ahead.
Okay. Okay, so one of the greatest rewards of being a small business owner has been witnessing the growth, both professionally and personally. When I started M.A.T.S in 2019, I could not have imagined how much it would evolve. We began with 100 clients, as I said before, and grew to nearly 500 in multiple states. Has been very fulfilling. And another reward is the opportunity to create jobs. Being able to bring people in and give them an opportunity has been very profound for me. And I've also found deep satisfaction in helping clients achieve financial clarity and stability, especially those who never thought that they could own a business. So I do business trainings as well, and then when I'm sitting there with my client and just being able to teach them, the beginning stages and get them to that success has been very fulfilling to me. So, yep.
Awesome. All right, Irene?
Thank you. I think my best reward here running the food truck business is that we get to know many places, many people out of town. Also working with my husband all day. Having time for our son, the little one. We have two more older, but they have their life on their way. So only our 11-year-old is going with us everywhere, and that I think the family time is a must for us. So being together most of the time and talking about what is our next step and all that, I think is a reward. And also that was running a business or food business was my dream, so I think it's a good reward.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Melissa?
So I guess the more rewarding in both of them is the aha moments, right? So when someone comes to me and they start asking questions and they don't realize that they have answered it themselves, and I was like, but you just answer it. And that reaction was like, oh my God, I know this all my life, but nobody ever told me I'm good at this, or nobody ever told me that's the puzzle piece that I was missing. So being able to help someone identify whatever that need is, either with consultation or either with an automotive business, or it's like people come and ask for super expensive window tint, and I'm like, but you don't need that because we don't live in Texas. You can get away with the cheaper version, and they're like, oh, I guess I can. It's like that gratification of trying to help someone solve a problem, whatever that is.
Definitely. Anybody else want to jump in on this? Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. Kind of similar to as Irene was saying, I think the greatest part of, especially in the food and beverage service, is just all the people you meet and the community that you're able to serve. And I mean, similar to what you said too, Melixa, like being able to, provide this service and kind of interact with, like, occupy this space in the community that we wouldn't be able to otherwise. And because it's a double-edged sword, being the one in charge, being the last, being the end of the line, where both in terms of like the team we want to manage and how we want to serve, the customers who come in, you kind of have the final say on that experience both ways. So I think being able to consider like your own, the ability, as opposed to when you're working for maybe a larger company, or have less of a say in kind of the responsibilities you take on. When you have your own business, you're able to consider your own values and start from there and have that inform, and much as you've said too, Monica, like have those values inform both how you lead your team and how you decide, what you want to work on and how you want to serve people in the community. And so kind of having that agency and able to see your values in play as you decide, what you want to work on and how you want to grow your business is very rewarding.
Yes.
Okay, so I guess kind of back to the negative part a little bit, but we all know a lot has been going on recently with the economy, and it's definitely been impacting small businesses. So how has your business adapted to recent economic shifts or maybe changes in industry trends? Anybody want to jump on this question? Jen, yeah, let's
You
go
go
to
first.
Jen.
Yeah, because I don't want to make it seem like I'm always going first.
Your answers are so good, though. It makes the rest, I'm like, oh, answer's not that good. The movie industry is constantly changing, and especially since COVID, it has taken a beating. So it's constantly trying to figure out what's the way to move forward with this. Part of why we started Flyover was economics. If somebody has a budget for their film, and let's say they've got $1 million to make it, that is going to go a lot further, and they're going to be able to do a lot more with that down here. I've literally read scripts that the person was insistent that it be set in Chicago, and there's a scene on the L, and there's a scene at the Intercontinental Hotel, and there's another scene, and this person called me and said, well, I've got $2 million, and I said, that's great, but you spent that by page 15. Like, it's gone. But we can bring your production down here. You can get a lot more bang for your buck. You can go up and shoot B-roll or plates of Chicago. That's a piece of cake. The interiors can be done here. So we have to constantly scale and rethink, and how do we allow the filmmaker to put the most value on screen instead of spending a ton of money just trying to get it made. They've got to have the budget for the post-production stuff, which is important. So it's constantly changing, as I think most of our businesses, our prices aren't going down on anything.
Yeah.
Let's go Melixa, then Melinda.
All right, keep it short, sweet. For example, the automotive business. So a lot of people these days are not going to be thinking, oh, I need tints, or I need to detail my vehicle, or I need to put ceramic coating, or I need to wrap it so it looks pretty. They're thinking, I need a car to go to work. I need a car to go pick up my kids. I need a car to function, and money is short, so they rather eat than put, PPF on a vehicle. So what we're trying to do, or we started doing, is actually partners with dealerships where the cost is attached to the cost of the vehicle. So it's like, how can we just make sure that the difference is not that much that's going to affect the pocket of the customer, at the end of the equation? So for us, charging $3,000 a person out of the bat is really expensive, because with $3,000 you can probably buy another car or a motorcycle, right? But a person that is buying a brand new car, adding that extra $1,200 or that extra $3,100 in a $30,000 vehicle loan, it's a lot easier to get to that point and sell the product then than it is for me to take it out of their pocket, because they have the ability to pay for it in a period of time and still not capitalize the money in something that they cannot use forward.
Great, Melinda.
Yeah, I would say adapting is the word, really. So that's one of the biggest challenges, is just like not to get stuck. But we kind of have to constantly adapt, just what these two were just saying. So yeah, the economy is really sluggish right now. We count on being able to build software for our clients. Those contracts just are taking a lot longer to close right now. There's not a lot of university business right now. We also work in ag tech, and that's challenging. So you just constantly have to figure out, okay, how can I pivot? How can I suggest like a phased project so they don't have to spend so much up front? It's really a matter of just kind of, at least in my business, of just really listening to what people are trying to achieve and how do we partner with them in a different way than maybe we would have done it 2 years ago. So it's just kind of like that constant tap dance of having to figure out what are today's conditions, which are particularly challenging, but really all the time. And how do I want to pivot, and how do I want to like listen to what's going on and figure out what I offer and kind of shift a little bit.
Great. Anybody else want to answer this question before we move on to the next one? Monica?
But see, I'm in the financial industry, so over the past few years, the accounting and tax industry has experienced major shifts from new tax regulations and digital transformation to economic uncertainties affecting, a lot of small businesses. So, but one of the biggest ways we've adapted, M.A.T.S, is embracing technology. We shifted everything over to cloud-based systems, which allows us to create these portals for our client portals for the clients. So even if you're living here in town and just say COVID hit or something major hits, you're able to securely send your information through this client portal. We can serve you, and you would never ever have to come, into the office. Then we have the Zoom where we can communicate that way. We've also expanded our services to reflect the changing needs of our clients. Many small business owners are seeking not just tax preparation, but year-round financial guidance, including bookkeeping, payroll, and compliance support. So we offer comprehensive business consulting and financial reporting, which positioned M.A.T.S as a trusted long-term partner rather than just a seasonal provider. And just always educating our clients, on the economic changes and shifts. So as I'm preparing their tax return and I'm looking at their financial piece, I'm forecasting the next 3 years with the business. I can look at their paperwork and tell, where they probably need to scale back at, or where they need to be reserving their resources. So that's good.
Anybody else? Jen,
Yeah. Yeah, I think, the common theme that we're hearing from everyone is just kind of like when these challenges do strike is to continue listening and considering what is most beneficial to the clients and how you can work that, into your business model. For us, like in food service, one of the most concrete, immediate economic challenges of this year has been, new tariffs, which has affected, for us, we're a good portion of the bakery business is in coffee. That had a pretty immediate impact on our prices. And, no one ever wants to raise prices for the end consumer. But at the same time, our coffee providers didn't want to raise prices. We don't want to raise prices for our consumers, but it is kind of inevitable. So when you are thinking about that, you're forced to just consider more broadly. And there's only so much we can do, right, as an individual coffee shop bakery. But at the end of the day, I do think, what we're considering when dealing with these is just more broadly, what can we contribute to the community? For us, like at Hopscotch, it's like, what is the difference between the coffee that someone is getting here versus the coffee at Starbucks, and so for us, it's not nearly as, maybe concrete a solution or adaptation as other people have suggested, like in their business model. But for us, it's like, what people want, in addition to their coffee, is like a sense of community, a sense of comfort in this time of uncertainty on many levels, both economic and otherwise. And so when we're thinking about how to lead the business, and kind of the culture that we foster, for the staff, I'm thinking about the experience that we're providing and just kind of making that extra effort to get to know our clients, just be a warm moment in their day that, kind of keeps people coming back and kind of allows, differentiates us even if we have to increase our prices a little bit or just create this broader, greater, stronger relationship than just, the individual cup of coffee or croissant that they're getting. Yeah.
Awesome, thank you. I do want to move on to this next question because I do think it's important. So I get a lot of questions in my one-on-ones with small businesses and nonprofits alike about marketing, because we all know, you need to reach potential customers, let them know that you exist. So I guess my question is, what marketing strategies have been most successful in attracting, retaining customers for your business? And if anybody would like to jump in here, I don't know if you guys do your marketing for your business. Okay, Melixa, let's start with you, then Dr. Beasley.
So I say it depends on what is it that you're selling, right? So for me, if I want to sell or my services as a consultant, strategic person, I will try to put most of my material on LinkedIn because that's where all the professionals are. So, but if I want people to go and buy my window tints, which is a very economic service for less than $300, then I will probably go to TikTok because I'm going to get my 20, 23, 25, 30 years old people looking at TikTok and looking into that. If I want people to spend $3,000 in a paint protection film, who are the people that have the money these days to do so, right? And what do? Do they stay on Facebook? Do they read the newspaper? What is it that they do? Are they streaming through the channels or are they looking at the mail? So can I have a mail campaigns? I think that one of the things that you have to think about, people need to trust you, believe you, and recognize you. And you have to do it at least 8 to 12 times before people actually know who you are and start seeing you as your brand, right? But for that, you have to be strategic about the frequency because you don't want to spam people and make them throw away those flyers if you mail too many or if you email too much. You don't want them to unsubscribe. So try to think about strategies of like, okay, so this is what I'm going to do. This is how many times I'm going to touch them. This is how I'm going to just put my name out there. But at the same time, what is it that I want out of that mail campaign or out of that marketing through Facebook or Instagram? Who is sitting on Facebook and Instagram right now? And how can I just grab those people's attentions without having to spend a lot of money on it and organically get them because they're going to be looking at this, right? So if I do social media, I use, for example, I want to do people with a lot of money. What are they looking at? What do you think? Vacation, boats, new cars, luxury cars, right? So I don't necessarily need to be, well, if they're retired, they're probably looking at sourdough recipes, right? So think about that, because everyone is doing sourdough. I'm sorry, I'm not doing sourdough. I know, but so it's like, what are they doing? They're not doing anything. They're just like trying all the sourdough bagels. Okay, so when I am targeting and marketing on Facebook, I'm not going to put my topic as automotive. I'm going to put my topic sourdough, bakery, beauty. If it's towards females, right? If it's towards males, what is it that they're looking at? Golfing, vacation, I mean, who knows? Sodas, because they don't do it. I'm kidding. But think in your, who is that person, and reverse engineer back to things that they are used to do or like to do and where they do it, and then expose your product there so that way your return of investment is bigger.
That's amazing. Dr. Beasley, you want to test?
So, yeah, my major two spaces have always been word of mouth referrals and my Google reviews. I mean, social media is real big and easier way to get your information out there, but not everybody pay attention to your media. Not saying that they do or they don't. That's just not really been something big for me. It's just been word of mouth. You treat your clients right, your customers right, they're going to send more people to you. You will not, I mean, I gained probably 70 clients this year alone just based off of my reviews and what people have said about me.
Irene.
Same here. Most of our customers have referred us to friends and family. And also, for example, when we go to events, we always get 2, 3, 4 people asking how far you travel. Do you do this type of service? So I think most of our customers, we get them from the events that we go and referrals. Yep.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Okay, well, marketing I know is definitely crucial. I will say I wholeheartedly agree with Melixa. You definitely want to know your customer. You do have some great tools here for that here at the library too. A little plug for the library. But all right, so let's go to our next question. Many small businesses struggle to find and retain qualified employees, and I know this has definitely been a question a lot of people have had recently. So what strategies have you used for building a strong team? I think all of you guys have employees, right? So I don't know if anybody wants to jump in on this one. If not, that's also fine. All right, Melinda.
I don't know that this is well, I'll just say a lot of people find us, and they find us because we share our values, we talk about who we are, and that means we're finding people who are already, they're kind of self-aligning with us. And then after that, so that means they kind of want to work how we work, they want to be part of our culture. What we do is very interpersonal. A lot of one-on-one work with our clients, a lot of conversation and communication. So that's kind of one of the biggest barriers to get over. Of course, then we've got to figure out if they have the skill sets, et cetera. But I think having that match first of shared values, shared work styles is really important. And we have our values on our website. We primarily use LinkedIn and social media, and we talk about that. We talked about who we are and how we work. So I think putting yourself out there can't solve all the problems, but I think it's one important element to really get people who are going to work well within your organization.
Great. Anyone else? Melixa?
I think that a piece of paper holds a lot in it. Find the talent, train the skill. It's my number one advice. And number two, also all business is a transaction as every relationship in life. You had to put in work and to ask for work, right? With your husband, with your mom, with your dad, with your sibling, with your neighbor. How do you create that? You cannot be trying to retain an employee that all you do is ask for things, right? So you got to give and make sure that you understand what is the need of every individual, because some people need more than others. Some people may not even want you to do certain things, but be there when they need to, or more people may need more words of affirmations and tell them you're doing a great job. But at the same time, it doesn't have to be business all the time, because we're all humans. So try to get involved with them as humans, not as your, machinery, right? So we're there, we're growing together, we're learning together, and we are transactional together. You help me build a business, I help you build your dreams. Whatever that is pay that car, pay that house, build a family, start having kids, move on to a different state. Just always be a value for them as they are to you.
Great. Anyone else? Okay. So I'm going to move actually to the last question, just in the interest of time, make sure we also have some time for audience questions. And this question I would like everybody to answer. But I'd like to know, what piece of advice would you give to aspiring entrepreneurs looking to launch their own small business? And I think we'll start with Dr. Beasley then and just work our way down the panel, if that's okay? If you're ready.
The advice that I would give: start with purpose, plan with wisdom, and move with faith. Understand your why, build a strong foundation, and don't rush the process. Seek mentors, manage your finances wisely, and remember, your small beginnings are preparing you for the greater impact. Be consistent, be teachable, and stay anchored in your integrity.
Great. Jenny?
Yeah, I don't know if I could say it any better than that. But I would say, for me, the most practical, yes, I do think you should always examine your own values, find your why, and take various practical steps. But I think the most useful thing that I wouldn't have known starting out is just to find the people who are doing the thing that you want to do and to talk to them and to find, So whether it's mentorship or just other colleagues, just to talk to other people and to talk to other business owners, because it can be a very isolating process. It can be very lonely because if you are the owner of the business, then you don't have colleagues, other people you can necessarily complain to, bounce ideas off of, or what have you. And so the biggest resource you can find, I think, is other business owners or other people who have already done what you aspire to do. Because you don't know what you don't know. They have been through it, and I think other people have touched on this in terms of like talking about other challenges. Other business owners have experienced similar things, gone through the same processes, dealt with the same bureaucracy, and all of these things. It seems impossible if you're doing it on your own, but talking to other people and finding out what they've done or what mistakes they've made has been the most valuable thing. And just having that moment of kind of like another person understanding what you're going through is absolutely invaluable. So I would just say to talk to as many other people and learn from as many other people as you can.
Right. All right, Irene.
Thank you. I think you want to be persistent in your dream. Find your resources. Use your resources. Back in 2018, I don't think I had these resources, so it was a little hard. But I'm seeing a lot of websites, people, places that you can go, you can talk with, and you can ask, always ask. I said, main thing, be persistent, don't give up. We are here, a lot of resources, so I think that's the main thing I can say.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, and all of that. I'll just shout out some things that I found helpful. So Lauren has helped me do research. When I had the women-owned business status issue, I turned to the SBDC. I was able to work with Kelly Kruger-Herrera, who's our Apex Accelerator local person now. She was over in Peoria at the time. We didn't have a local office, but she's awesome. And finding your people. I recently joined the executive club in town, which is a lot of other women in business. It sounds kind of like hoity-toity, like executive club, but it's great, and you don't have to be an executive, and it's just, at least a lunch, usually once a month, and just a chance to meet other people who are, trying to achieve their dreams and make things happen in their jobs and in their life. In my business, I found a couple specific, kind of business networking things, and I'm in an online group with 7 other people across the country, and actually in Canada, who have businesses like mine. That's been invaluable. So it's like finding your people, and which I will admit I was so overwhelmed when I started, I just looked inward. And it was all problem after problem after problem, and I didn't have that support, and I didn't have other people to bounce things off of. And that, like you said, isolating is a great word for it. That was not a healthy way to go about it. So things have gotten a lot better since I've built up, my group.
From life experiences, I've learned that you have to train your mind. Train your mind, train your mind. If you don't know how to handle the ups and downs, you're going to want to quit. If you don't know how to handle the good time and learn how to handle the bad times, you're going to be frustrated very quickly, and you're going to be so disappointed, and then you're going to be like, that's what people say when he's owning a business, or that's what people said when he's owning a rental unit, or, just train your mind. Number 2, lead with your heart. I think that it is important to always be kind and stick to your values. I think that most of us have said that strictly. When you follow your heart, follow your values, that's what makes you continue. It actually gives you inspiration to move forward through the hard times and good times. I learned that from my mom, and from my dad I learned always move forward, right? It doesn't matter how fast or how long of a step. Always move forward and look back only to kind of see how far you've gone, right? So every movement, it's a movement. Just make sure that you don't move in circles, right? Just always forward.
I'm going to expand a little bit. Everybody sort of said find your people. I think Melinda talked the most about that. I'm going to tell you that I would recommend finding a couple different types of people. Have a couple of people that are your support system, that are there if you want to scream or cry or curse or have a meltdown or express joy of something really good that happened. Have those people, but then have a group of people that are going to challenge you. Get them from different professions, different walks of life. Do not ever surround yourself with yes people. You're going to want that because that's the easy way to do it, is for people to say, Jen, you're great. You're doing great. I agree with everything you're doing. That is so unhelpful. Mm-hmm. Have people that are going to challenge you, that are going to make you think outside your particular box, that are going to really give you a battle a little bit at times. Then hang on to the small stuff. So some days it's going to feel like nothing good is happening and it is overwhelming. Walk away, take a breath, come back to it. It's like the old adage, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Sit down, whatever it is, get it out. Start with the first word and start reading it. You'll figure it out. You can find the resources to help you. But for those good things that happen, like if somebody sends you an email that says how great your service was or your product was, or they send you a card or they do something, pin that somewhere where you can see it. Because some days you're going to be elbow deep trying to fix a toilet while you've got a salesman beating on the bathroom door that wants you to sign a deal. And this is car business stuff, not movie stuff. But I mean, some days it is challenging to find the good. So have a place where you can look up and see something good. I had things that little kids drew me in the dealership. Or, just a note from somebody. Any sort of positive affirmation, hang on to that, because there's a lot of days you're going to need that one little affirmation just to keep you moving forward.
Amazing, thank you. I would like to open up to some questions. If you guys have any, this is an amazing opportunity to ask questions of local small business owners. So does anybody have any questions at all? Okay, great. I can come over here and you can have the microphone.
Several questions, but for Jennifer, I think it's amazing that you went from the car dealership to the movies in this town. But I hear how you got started. You saw that there was a need. But did you think about, am I wasting my time? Is there money in this? Did you do a business plan and say, oh, I can make this X amount, so let me get into this? Or were you just, I love TV and movies, so let me get into this?
So I'm probably a terrible example of how to do this. With my car dealerships, it was a very, very structured plan because I had to be approved by the manufacturers and the banks. With the movie industry, both the production side and now the film side, we have totally done a grassroots effort. So we spend what we have. When we make money on a film, we figure out, okay, what improvements, what's next, where's our next best return on investment. I know there is a plan for film studios because I have toured the fields up in Chicago, which is a $30 million facility that has no productions in it. So I knew that wasn't going to work. I didn't want to take out a loan. I recently had a person tell me that I am a serial entrepreneur because everyone that talks about a business opportunity, I dive in head first and I'm like, how can we make that work? And so I do a lot of consultation, not formally. I'm sure these women are much better trained to do that on a formal basis. but because I'll be that person that's going to fight you and make you think. So there wasn't a solid plan for Flyover Film Studios. I mean, there was. We had a lot of stuff. One of our biggest things is the waste that happens in Hollywood. A show will run, let's say any series or a movie, and there is a ton of stuff they purchase. Sets, clothing, prop, I mean, tons and tons of stuff. A lot of productions, if they decide, for instance, not to bring a show back for a second season, they give the producers about 30 days at the most to get rid of the stuff. They dumpster it. We knew things we wanted to do differently, and so we sort of set our foundation on, we're going to repurpose, reuse, rebuild, dumpster dive, if you will. I mean, we don't, but we now have shows that will call us and say, hey, our producers have sold what they can, the rest of it's going in the dumpster. We send semis up to go get it.
One other question. Are you familiar with the studios in North Carolina? Because I was just amazed that they have really big studios now down there.
They do. They're growing a lot of places. So we just produced a film that 50 Cent was the executive producer on, and he was here because he's doing this in Shreveport, Louisiana. He is building a studio that the city of Shreveport is going to own. He's renting the space. So there's some really cool stuff going on, more like this rather than going to the big gates at Warner Brothers.
Awesome. Yeah, 50 Cent was at the mall recently, I think.
He was, and then people thought it was a joke, but he was actually here, yes.
Any other, yes, okay, great. Questions back here. I saw you first, and I'll get to you.
My name is Ben. My question is for Jennifer. Sorry. So the thing that interested me when you were talking about the relationship between an artist who does not see themselves as a business person or would not like to conduct business but would like to be an artist and do art, and the business person. This is sort of the type of relationship I'm searching for myself in so many ways. Do you have any advice, you being, I guess, the business person in this equation for your group of crazy artists, but you also being artfully inclined as well. You saying that movies were your passion. So do you have any advice for managing, sustaining that sort of business relationship, professional relationship?
It is very difficult. I will tell you that you're not alone. A lot of artists do not consider themselves business people. So try to hook yourself up with somebody that does know some of the ins and outs of businesses. Breaking through as an artist is tough. So I tell people in the film world, don't say no to stuff unless it morally or ethically goes against your beliefs. Like, don't go be in a movie that is something that you don't believe in or want to be part of. But don't say no to stuff. I mean, be a background. Your biggest help as an artist is making connections. Go to anything and everything as far as background calls. If you're a musician, get your music out there as much as possible. You're going to get so many no's, but go to every networking opportunity you have, even stuff like this. Go to seminars, just keep meeting people. You sort of find in a lot of ways that Hollywood is pretty small. Actually, it's not, it seems like a huge industry monetarily, it is, but it's a pretty small group of people, all in all, that are making things tick. But you have got to have some real perseverance to make it in this business. I always tell people, have a fallback. I am going to be 61 years old pretty soon, and I still do not know what I want to be when I grow up. So don't shut out other interests, because sometimes in that realm, you're going to have a fallback to pay the bills. So keep your mind open to all kinds of things.
Hi everyone, my name is Carmen Doe. how are you managing all of this? How are you balancing multiple passions? What advice would you have for someone starting off?
Anybody want Melixa?
I mean, since I have so many, but I would say learn your systems, right? So you're not gonna find another you, because when you're a business owner, you give it all, and no one will ever do the same things that you do, the way you do it, or how you want to do it, whatever. But you need to continue to run your businesses when you're doing other things. So understand what systems can you use that you can do automatic things, and also understand things that you cannot do, and if you are not financially able to support that, save for it, right? Because there's things that we may think we can do and we're just really awful, and we actually have to pay someone that is that expertise and get the resources, because they do know what they're doing, and your return of investment will be way higher, right? So bottom line is understand what you're good at, understand what you're not good at, try to find automatic, affordable services, apps, systems that could help you grow. And once you can afford humans and have a bigger budget for whatever is it that is, you're able to kind of grow and expand and support all your branches.
Anybody else want to chime in on this question? Jennifer.
I would say, because I'm probably the elder statesman up here, I decided a few years ago that I did not want my obituary to read, "She worked a lot." So somewhere, whether you have to, I have to write it in my day planner and put it on my calendar, give yourself a little time and a little grace. But occasionally, even if it's for 30 minutes, give yourself a break once in a while, because you're juggling a ton of stuff. But every once in a while, you by yourself, alone, or with your family, a partner, whatever, give yourself the grace to have some time where you are not working.
Great. Any other questions from the audience? Probably do one or two more here, and then I'll get you guys to look.
Question is for Irene. Okay, you have
Yep.
a food truck business, right?
Correct.
Okay. My name is Shay, and I have a small juice business, and I eventually want to have a food truck as well. So I wanted to know, what are the pros and cons of you having a food business, not food business, a food truck versus being at a stand-up, like a location, like a store or something. A brick and mortar, yes. And how did you find your food truck? Do you have help, or do you do it by yourself?
I think what is best for the food truck business is not to stay in the same place, because you have a mobile business, so you have you have this opportunity to go different places and meet different people, in which you don't have on a space that you like a restaurant or a specific place. You go to your customers. You go where you can find more customers. So I think it's better to have a mobile business. Yeah. Thank you.
Any advice on getting a food truck, or where did you find your food truck?
I look through Facebook Marketplace. I also drive around small towns. Sometimes they have the trucks just for. In Chicago, I also have I drive where I used to buy my groceries for the food truck. So it's just probably searching, yeah. But I think best option is the marketplace. Yeah. Mhm.
Melixa, do you want to hear? Oh, yeah, of course.
This one's an open one. My name's Frank. For a female in professional settings, what are one, maybe for each of you, what was the biggest oppression that you have had to deal with in your individual industries?
Yeah, I was going to say that. I'll start just because. So in my particular industries, in the car business, that is so male dominated. When I owned my dealerships, they assumed that 11% of dealerships were owned by females, but of that 11%, half of those were in name only. It was a diversification of assets. The women did not run the stores. So that was next to nothing. I used to, this is terrible, and this is going to tell you it's sort of mean-spirited, but I used to sort of play games. Like I would go to meetings and just keep giving guys enough rope to hang themselves before I would tell them that I was the dealer principal. You know, they would ask me, do you have the ability to make decisions? Yeah. Do you work in the office? Yeah. Do you know, just kept, belittling me and berating me, and I just kept giving them rope. And then I explained to them why I would never in a million years do business with their company. I didn't care what they were selling. Then I went to the movie industry, and that was the big Me Too movement. Well, to me, the movie industry looked very, very diverse because I was coming from the automotive industry, which is probably the least diverse. One of the least diverse businesses that I have been involved in. So to me, I thought movies were pretty diverse. They're not. I learned that. But you have got to have a sense of humor, but you have got to stand your ground and stand up for yourself and do not let people bully you. It's just, I don't know how everybody else has done it, because I'm sure we've all faced it, but it's, I give special grace and try to do business with female-owned, minority-owned, gay-owned businesses, because those people have taken a beating to get there.
So I would say always speak out. Like don't stay quiet. I've been in places that is male dominated, and sometimes you feel like you just want to say something and they jump on you, kind of like, but just take the time and say, I'm here and I'm going to say what I'm thinking, and what I'm saying has some value and you should respect it as well. Be very confident and don't stay quiet.
Yeah, one of the things we try to do is just not compromise on who we are. And it starts with me as the leader of the company, both female and gay, but also just in the way we work. And we try to show our hand during the sales process. This is who we are. This is what it's going to be like. We're going to ask a lot of questions. You have to get in there with us and wrestle with the hard things that we're going to have to deal with. And that is a great way. That's when people can walk away, and that's for the better, because they don't want to work how we work. Maybe they don't want to work with me. And so just try to get that out of the way and move on to the next person who's going to want to work with you.
I think you should not let anyone trying to get you down as a woman business owner. When I started it, most of the food trucks were owned by males. So I think I was the first woman started that business, that type of business. And I see now a lot of food trucks run by women. So that makes me think that I was in the right field. One time I was told the food truck industry was not made for women. And I said, I'm going to prove that you're wrong. And so I tried just to push hard and work hard, and so here we are. And I think I have inspired more women to jump in that food truck industry, and I'm here if they need help, they need advice. I'm here for them. Thank you.
I would say one of the biggest obstacles I faced was just in terms of financing and finding financing when I was going through the purchase of the business. So, I mean, we're very fortunate as far as, workplace culture that, that is something that I have control over, who we hire, making clear our values within the business itself. But when it came time, to have the business evaluated by someone else, to be able to, take out a loan to buy the business, that was kind of one of the big times where I would step into offices and feel, sized up, belittled, all that. And so there is, definitely there is a need to stand your ground, speak up, try to just, get creative, I guess, in terms of finding a solution and proving, demonstrating that you are deserving of someone's time and energy. But I think when it came to this very solid barrier of I needed a loan, and people would either take a meeting with me or not, or make an effort to look at my application or not. Going back to what we had said earlier about finding your people, I think a big thing was finding other women. I was very fortunate to know other women in the purchasing process who were able to refer me to people they knew, who they knew would be able to get creative with me, or would work with me in a way that maybe just any bank that I walked into might not. So again, having a support system, both emotionally and also because they've been there, because they've faced those same barriers, who are able to provide you with resources, talking to other women, other minorities, other queer folk, all of that, once again, is absolutely invaluable.
For me, it's when they walk into the office. We had the phone conversation, they make the appointment, come in, and then they see who I am, and then it kind of changed the trajectory of everything, because one, I am a woman, two, I'm educated, and I have all my degrees on my wall, and I've had men come in there that make 6 figures or more, probably in their mind or thoughts that I'm not intelligent enough to be able to handle the job. But at the end of the day, I don't falter. They entrust me with doing their paperwork. I do it, I execute, I keep them, and they send other partners. But yeah, it's a tricky thing when you're dealing with men, because it's a man-dominated world, and have been for many generations. And so when women are now coming more forward with leadership roles, it can make them intimidated. So just stand your ground. That's all I can say. Stand your ground and have confidence and belief in what it is you're doing in your company.
Since we are over time, I think we'll have to end the question session, but what I will say is my experience working with small business owners a lot, they want to help, they want to connect. They want to lend their expertise and mentorship to anyone starting a small business, particularly in that industry. So I encourage you to connect with them, via LinkedIn, or get their card, or, ask them to coffee, and just, chat with them, as I said, they are, someone who started a business is the best resource for someone who is starting a business. So, reach out and ask questions. It's really important. So, anyways, on that note, can we get a big round of applause for these amazing panelists? I really want to thank everybody here, it's just so amazing. I also want to encourage everybody, please, to support small businesses. I mean, I feel like it goes without saying, but I still say it over and over again, especially now, with everything going on, the economy. I mean, they are just like the lifeblood of our community, and they make our community what it is. And I encourage you, go get a taco from La Paloma, please. Go to Hopscotch. Have Melinda create you a website or something with Pixo, and go make a movie with Jennifer, and get your taxes done with Monica, and Melixa. You can bring your car in, or you can get some, consulting. With,
Yeah, I mean, everyone has 30 minutes free, it's fine.
Yeah. But, please support our small business community, and I can't say it enough. But again, thank you so much for coming this evening, and thank you again to our panelists. It's been great.
Thank you, have a good night.
Thank you.